word. That's like mayonnaise. I'm sure that's the biggest word I know.
Hello, everybody, and welcome on into the Basket NBA Player Props with Adam Scherer of EV Analytics. I'm Tom Viola from Unabated, and welcome on into our Instagram Live viewers as well, joining us for the first time here today as we test out some new tools and features there as well. If you are watching us on YouTube or Twitter, yeah, that's the spot where you're going to see some of the graphics here when we bring up our player projections that we're talking about. But hey, if you're watching us on Instagram Live, thank you so much for being with us here. Don't forget to throw us that follow and that like everywhere. You guys know the drill. Adam, it's another great Friday slate in the NBA. How are you doing today, my friend?
Yeah, doing pretty well. Looking forward to basketball, baseball, Friday in general. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Yeah, it's a Friday, man. I was telling you beforehand, I got a Tall Boy Mountain Dew in the fridge that's calling my name like a Green Goblin mask right now. But hey, we've got some stuff to get to on a Friday here before we begin. We got 3 player props to go through. And of course, as always, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to hit us up with your questions. We are here to answer them as well. That's what makes it part of the show. That's what makes it fun here. We're here to answer your questions. Help you out with your prop choices as well. It's not just our props here. That's the beauty of being a live show where you guys can interact with us. Feel free, follow along, give us a shout out, give us any questions that you have for us. We are here to answer as well. And of course, if you're following us on the Unabated YouTube channel, don't forget, head on over to Unabated Live. This is the final show. We're going to be streaming from both accounts. So you're going to start missing us if you don't go to Unabated Live and click that follow button and get the notifications there as well. So just want to remind you of that. But Adam, I think we should hop on in and get right to it. What do you think?
Yeah, sounds good.
All right. The first guy that we are looking at here, we are going to one of the mightiest franchises in the league, a powerhouse looking to lock up their 11th win of the season, maybe. The Detroit Pistons and Jaden Ivey. We're looking at his point total here. You got him projected out for 16.56 points. What are we looking at?
Yeah, no Cade Cunningham today, so kind of a scary prop in general. Memphis obviously sucks. You're going to get increased usage with no Cade Cunningham. We've seen Jaden Ivey's usage percentage increase 5 to 6 points without him, but still only projects for about 16.7, 16.6 points here. In the games he's played without Cunningham so far, he has averaged about 19.1. That's pretty much in line with the actual line, but he's shot a little bit better than normal from 3 in those games, shooting 34% compared to 32. His field goal percentage overall has been pretty much in line with what you would expect. But if anything, you would typically expect those numbers to decrease with him getting more defensive attention as well. So projects, in about 32 minutes for 16.6 points. We have seen this line come down a bit throughout the day. It opened at 20.5. It's down to 19.5. So projects is a profitable bet here.
Yeah, there we go. We're looking at it here, of course, on the Unabated Prop Simulator, where we're saying we have a whopping 36% edge versus the DraftKings line at under 19.5, minus 105 right now. That's the best line that we've got available. Of course, when we're dealing with edges this high, like, we're not talking about it as a true 36% edge. Don't go betting 36% of your bankroll on this prop. All props, when we simulate it out, we're basing it off Adam's awesome projections here, but still, that's a great number. When we're looking at one projection source like this, to be getting a 36% edge, that's right in the wheelhouse of where we want it to be. So everything is lining up for us because, hey, it's not about narratives. It's about numbers here on this show. We're looking for where the numbers make sense, where it makes the most sense. And according to our projection here, this should be priced at minus 235 if you're going for under 19.5. So we absolutely love seeing that. Not seeing anyone in the chat just yet, but hey, guys, remember, if you want to throw in your questions, throw in your comments as well, feel free to do so. But in the meantime, we'll move on to our second prop here. We are going to be looking at the easy money sniper himself, Kevin Durant, but we'll be hoping it's easy money that he's not sniping today as we switch over to your feed here on EV Analytics. Adam, there we go. Catch that prop of me accidentally calling you Derek once. What are we looking at with KD?
Yeah, under 2.5 threes on KD here. On BetMGM plus 100, you can see on the screen that that's clearly the best price amongst the books. FanDuel, DraftKings, Caesars that I also have checked off here. They're all minus money there. So plus 100 looks good. I think still profitable on these other books, or if the line does come down a bit, but projects for about 2 3s. So more or less, priced to be a coin flip and not an actual coin flip. So projects pretty well.
Yeah. John Charles, by the way, says got Ivy earlier this morning and just added more. Thanks, fellas. Hey, we are glad to hear that you got some of that. Ryan Moran joining us over on the Unabated channel says he got it at under 20.5. Just got a bet early enough. And Serve 5 says just arrived. What's up, guys? What is up, Serve? But yeah, so does it scare you at all taking a number like this on a guy like Kevin Durant, where like I find sometimes, and it's totally anecdotal, and I know that I need to shake it, but I get so scared off of playing unders on some of these big stars.
Yeah, it sucks, but I think the way that I think about it is that's everybody's opinion. And I know I've seen like Derek, for example, talk about it in other sports where a lot of times your most profitable props are going to be betting overs on players that you don't want to bet overs on. It doesn't feel good to bet overs on, and vice versa. Most days when I'm sorting through these projections, it's just a lit, and I'm trying to figure out, what plays do I want to talk about on a show. Ideally, I get to find, some player that sucks and tell you to bet his under props, but that generally isn't the case. It's normally the stars, and that's just kind of how it works.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like, especially looking at overs, like I'm betting overs on guys whose numbers are at like 8.5 points, rebounds, assists, things like that. You're betting on these role players. It's like in college football where you have a chance to go down the roster and bet on the over 1.5 yards for like the 5th string wide receiver, because hey, guess what? This team's going to blow somebody out and he's actually going to get playing time.
Yeah.
It's stuff like that. And then the other reality is you're paying such a tax on overs for these star players that it does make sense to go with their unders.
Yeah, exactly. A perfect baseball example from earlier today too. I ended up betting over 3.5 strikeouts for Kyle Hendricks against the Dodgers. And when I saw it pop up, I just almost immediately ignored it because I didn't want to put money there. But like 4 strikeouts through 2 innings, you get that immediate positive reinforcement. But it's a perfect example of, if that were like a really good pitcher in the same matchup, obviously the line's going to be higher, but there's a better chance that people are betting the over and pulling it up even more.
Yeah, exactly. And that is something that you really want to factor in, especially in the props market. I feel like just because of the fact that it's such a smaller market, it's a lot less efficient. There's a lot less liquidity in it. And it means that a lot less money can move a line a lot more, and public money can actually have a little bit of an influence. Do you think?
Yeah. I mean, more so than on game lines or anything, game sides.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. More than on game sides here. Now, the next guy that we are going to be looking at here, Adam, is our last play. It's our last play on props that we have. So, by the way, guys, throw your stuff in. If you have questions for us, we're going to answer each and every one of them until we're blue in the face here. We're here to help you guys out. But the last guy we are looking at is going to be Jordan Poole. And we're going to go to his points, rebounds, assist market, which is one of my favorite props to bet on, Adam. What are you looking at here with Jordan Poole?
Yeah, 35-minute projection for Poole. So we haven't played a bunch of minutes, but 30.5 PRA. Good matchup against Portland. Obviously a team that is worse than Washington, just as bad as Washington, however you want to phrase that. The type of team that it is scary. You even hear Jordan Poole, not a good player, but it is scary betting his unders in this spot. But even in 35 minutes, projects as a pretty good margin here.
Yeah. And I mean, wow, these are 2 terrible, terrible teams here. It is wild that we have so many bad teams in a year where it's not like you're tanking for Wembanyama, unless 3 teams missed the memo.
Apparently are all playing each other today because we already talked about Ivy against Memphis too.
Yeah, that's right. We 4 really just awful teams that we're looking at here. Like, it's not Tankapalooza like we had in that 2020 season, I believe it was. Like, this is just absurdly terrible basketball from 4 teams. And when you get these matchups of bad versus bad, like what do you find is the difference when you're looking at player performance for games where it's like a game with a really high spread because you've got a good team playing a team like the Wizards versus a game where it's going to be closer because you've got 2 just atrocious teams like this playing?
I've always found it difficult, like especially, with having a DFS background and thinking about it that way. On the one hand, you always get the potential for these games to just be shootouts because neither team plays defense and it's likely to be competitive because both teams are terrible. On the other hand, though, sometimes you just get those games where like nobody can make a basket and it just ends up being absolutely awful. Obviously, if you're betting the under here on pool, that's the type of game you're hoping for. You're hoping you don't get that, back and forth track meet where nobody plays defense and it looks like an all-star game. You're hoping for the one where nobody can make a shot.
Do you feel like one of those happens more often than the other when you're talking about bad versus bad teams? Or like I suppose it's not quite like football where if you have two atrocious offenses, like that kind of overwhelms even bad defenses because they just can't move the ball.
Right. It's not like football because like it's so much easier to score in basketball than it is in football. Like you have, it's just so it's so different. Anecdotally, it feels like they end up being just high scoring, non-defensive games more often, but that's not based on anything other than just how it feels.
Gotcha. Well, that is what we have as far as the three props that we wanted to bring to you guys here. Unfortunately, it was a rough week last week. We went 0-2 last week. We're looking to bounce back with another 3-0 here. We're up 0.1 units overall through two episodes here. So we are positive, just barely, but we're 2-2. We're looking to extend it here with 3 plays today. Honestly, guys, chat's a little bit dead. I'm not seeing too much. I'm not seeing anyone with questions for us here, Adam.
People are already out enjoying their Friday.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it's one of those Fridays. Lord knows the East Coast, especially the New York area, is dealing with some interesting events today. But everybody else, I mean, it's a wonderful day here in Vegas.
Yeah, it is not a wonderful day in Maryland, but
yeah. Well, funny enough, Captain Jack was talking on his live stream before this when he was talking about baseball, and he was talking about how we do have a bit of a cold weather front moving through right now, and it's depressing some baseball totals today.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. The East Coast, I know, or at least Mid-Atlantic, has been just rain, cold, cloudy for like a week, and today's no exception.
Yeah, it's been a nice week in Vegas. Like we've had great weather, and then today the temperature dropped to about 20 degrees. Like I just checked, it's 50 degrees out today. It was 75 yesterday.
I thought you said it dropped to 20. I was like, that's a lot.
It'll feel like it is 220 degrees in about July here.
Right.
But it'll be around 120 there. But I like the heat. We're waiting, guys. If you have any questions for us, if you have any props questions, throw them in. We'll wait around for a few minutes here because I have one question for Adam before we depart. If you guys don't have any questions for us, but otherwise, Adam, I was thinking about this week, and I was thinking about because I don't watch a ton of basketball. I've had a great basketball prop betting year, especially thanks to you guys and the numbers from your projections at EV Analytics. But literally all I've been doing is pumping those numbers into the Unabated prop simulator, and I've been betting based on that. And I definitely have gotten a lot better as the season's gone on. These a couple things that I've been incorporating, like our market-based projections here at Unabated, definitely getting them to add in and like add that pinch of extra weight that brings things in line with the market has been really helping me identify edges. But the only other thing I've been doing is checking like Underdog for injury news. And it got me thinking about what, from your perspective, how much do you think you have to quote unquote no ball when it comes to when it comes to trying to bet on these prop markets? Like what are the factors that you think are actually important to be weighing and to be paying attention to basketball wise versus just looking at the numbers?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you have to watch or no ball to win. I think basketball, you can probably make a little bit stronger case than some other sports. I think and I'm the same as you, like I'll watch basketball some just because I enjoy it, but everything I do is, projections based, whether it's betting or DFS. I think if, from a watching standpoint, like if I could just, really know basketball, what would I look for that I think would actually probably make me a little bit better? It would just be play type stuff. And that data is actually available on the NBA.com website. They have a really good just league website with a ton of data. But teams that do defend the pick and roll well, or get the ball out of a pick and roll guard's hands and force more passes, like that kind of stuff, I think you could actually potentially find some actionable information from. And then also with basketball, again, because you have substitutions so often, having a feel for rotations is really important. And you don't have to watch games to know that. There are sites that you can just go look at rotations. But sometimes, you will get, if you look at a site and it shows, somebody played like an 8-minute rotation in the second quarter. But if you're watching the game, you know that his sub was at the scorer's table for 2 minutes and there just wasn't a stoppage. Like that kind of stuff, you can kind of pick up on. So I still very much believe you can win without watching games or truly knowing the sport. But basketball, I do think there are some potential edges. Maybe you can.
Yeah, then that is exactly what I was looking for there. Like, what are what if you were to be someone who doesn't follow basketball and you wanted to focus in on a couple factors to hone your prop game? You nailed it. Rotations and knowing some of those matchups and some of those play styles. Now, we do have a question coming in from DJ Cole here. He wants to know about Josh Giddey's assists market for the day. What do you have Josh Giddey projected at here for assists?
Yeah, so we have him projected for 6.17 assists. Looks like the best price as of the last time I refreshed was under 6.5 minus 135 on DraftKings. So we have it as very slightly profitable, not something that I would personally bet. Like, there's not a big enough margin for me to want to take that.
Yeah, I've got Bet Online at minus 123 here. That might not be their number anymore. They are a little bit delayed, but if that's their number, not seeing a huge edge on the unabated screen as well. Good news though for DJ Cole. He got it at even money earlier today, and that seems like a great line.
Yeah, that seems very good.
Yeah, so good for you, DJ. Way to be and way to hustle. And that brings up another good question that we can ask these again, guys. If you have any more questions, throw them in now. Speak now or forever hold your peace. But what do you think is the best time of day to be betting NBA props? When do you find yourself doing most of it? Because I personally am waiting till that 2 p.m., 3 p.m. Pacific time when we're getting more injury news out. But do you try and beat some of those markets a little earlier when the lines are less efficient?
Yeah, I try and do it in the morning when I can, but it's really tough with NBA, especially this time of year, because this time of year you just get even more questionable tags than normal, and you just run into situations where it's like, oh, well, this bet projects well, but I don't want to bet it because I have no idea what this guy's teammates are going to be doing. Earlier on in the season, obviously you still have Q tags, but you have a little bit less of the, it's April and half the teams don't care anymore stuff going on. So ideally, I want to get early lines, but I do think, as news breaks and you get sort of solidified information, it is still a good time to be looking at those. Whereas, like in baseball, I'm looking to get my strikeout bets in before I even go to bed and then first thing in the morning. And then I'm probably not even really looking close to lock because a lot of the value is going to be gone. In NBA, I do think you get that window kind of reopening once that like 4:30 or 5:30 Eastern injury report comes out.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's a level of value in NBA that happens closer to lock that you don't get in baseball, because like there's just not enough that's changing in baseball to make it matter.
Right. All that's changing in baseball is more people are waking up and then starting to look at props and then getting their money in and moving the line closer to where it should be.
Yeah. John Charles says Prop Builder still has some minus 124s out there on Giddey. A little secret for everybody: Bet Online is just 1 cent off of Prop Builder. They use the same prop supplier there. So if you see Bet Online numbers or you see Prop Builder numbers, they're pretty much going to be identical. And let me tell you, that has been very fun when it comes to betting with PPH books. It has been a very useful thing to know. So I'm glad to impart that to you guys. Ryan Moran has a question. Here we go. We're getting some question now. Ryan asks, how do you feel about betting teams with small spreads? I tend to bet those because they have more or less they are more or less money line with less vig. Example, the Wizards game today. Okay, so this is more of a sides question than a props question, but yeah, what do you feel about betting some of these games that are, I guess, more on the even side of things? I feel like for me, it all comes down to just, do I have an edge? Is the number better than it should be?
Yeah, exactly. That's what it is for me. I don't bet a lot of sides because I don't generally think I have an edge. I do, use like the Unabated tool to shop lines, and you'll get, occasionally a spot where a book is kind of asleep and just not in line with sharper books. So I'll take those. But that's pretty much the extent of my sides betting.
Yeah, honestly, my number one piece of advice there when it comes to small spreads, like first off, yeah, check and make sure that you have an edge. But the other thing here, if I throw the unabated screen back up here, the other thing that I'm looking at is, first off, you can always, we have the tools to help you calculate if a money line is better than a spread. Like if you want to know, should I lay the, oh, that's embarrassing. If you want to know, should I lay the -2 with a team versus just taking them straight up on the money line. Like we have calculators that help you quantify that exact value. Like for example, here, let's go to the spread and let's take that. Yeah. If I want to know, like, should I lay this -2.5, -110, I can click on that. on our compare lines tool here, and then I can go to the money line, and I can find like this minus 136 money line, and it's going to compare them for me, and it's going to tell me, hey, this is a better number, or this is a number that you should stay away from. And in this case, it's saying, yeah, take the Wizards on the money line rather than laying the 2.5, because you're getting just a tiny bit more, a tiny bit at 137. But then the other way, if you were betting this minus 145, this minus 140, you should take the 2.5, if that makes sense for you there, Ryan. But yeah, and then the other thing that I look at there is for alt lines, seeing if maybe there's something that can come up in that regard. But Adam, we've got a good 20 minutes here, despite only having 3 props and a little bit. Can you also choose the line? I got it at 2. Yeah, you could, Ryan. You could take an alt line. It all depends on what's available out there and what you want to look at. Like I know DraftKings has a bunch of alt lines, so
yeah, so that's where I usually look for alt lines.
Yeah, like if I wanted to take a spread here, I wanted to get like Portland -2. Or no, it would be Washington -2 here. And where would I go? There we go. Washington -2 should be -125 right now. So yeah, that's how I look at things. Every so often you do find some great alt line edges. If you just shop around the screen here a little bit, like I'm sure I could find something. Boom. Clippers versus Nuggets. If it's still there, like you can go and you can look, and it's like the Clippers at -3.5 is +215. You could take something like that. It's different, but it's all about the break-even percentages, and you're taking a little bit bigger of swings there. But hey, Adam, I think that is going to do it for us here today. We got a good 20 minutes out of a couple props here. Once again, to recap for everybody, we have Jaden Ivey under 19.5 points, -105 at BetMGM. Then we've got Kevin Durant under 2.5 3-pointers, also even money at MGM, and Jordan Poole under 33.5 points, rebounds, assists, -110 at DK. Those are our props here. John, absolutely. Oh, John's got one more. He's sliding one more in for us. He says, sorry for all the comments. Man, we are happy to have your comments. It helps us have more content for the show. And he wants to know, he's got Wemby under 43.5 at -115. He sees FanDuel down to -1. Down to 41.5. What do you have on Wemby PRA?
Yeah, so we have that as a good bet under 43.5 -115. We have just shy of 40 PRA for Wemby there. The line has moved up a little bit. It opened at 43.5 -120. Now it's -115. So a little bit of movement against, but nothing too crazy there. It does look like a good bet.
Yeah. Wow. Looking at this is like all over the place here, but yeah, 43.5 is at MGM. I'm liking that right off the bat. What do you? Let's run it through the simulator. What do you have as his projection?
Let me pull that up. So we have 23.76 points. 11.77 rebounds. And 4.35 assists.
All right, let's take a look here. Oh, yeah, that simulator showing some good value on that Wemby under. I like that too. Also, yeah. I mean, thinking of it from a matchup perspective, I don't know how much it matters going up against a guy like Zion and all that. Like, I don't know how they match up so well, but I know anecdotally I've had some success betting some Wemby unders this year.
Yeah, and it goes back to what we were talking about before. Like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to talk about it, but those are generally going to be some pretty good bets to make.
Yeah. Real quick, DJ Cole has another question for us before we head out. Paulo Banchero, 6.5 rebounds he's looking at. What do you have there? What do you have Banchero's rebounds projected at?
Let me see. So we have him at 7.05. Looks like the under is there is value on the under. It's not great.
Yeah, I'm not the Unabated simulator saying that line is right around where it should be. It's saying not too much value there. So yeah, that might be one I'd stay away from there, DJ. But hey, thanks for sending us your questions. Thanks for submitting some. DJ, Ryan, John, thank you guys so much for being here with us today. We appreciate it. It's a good Friday. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your Friday and have a great weekend. Of course, we're going to get the weekend started a little early here, I think, because I got it. My Monday starts super early, bright and early at 7 a.m. Pacific, 10 a.m. Eastern time, when I'll be right back here with Derek Hardy to go over some of his Bad X projections for the MLB slate for the day. We're doing 2 shows for you next week. We've got a Monday, 7 a.m., 10 a.m. show. We've got a Thursday, 7 a.m., 10 a.m. show. And then, of course, Friday, right back here at noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern, where Adam and I will be back breaking down yet another NBA slate for you. Thank you so much for being here with us, guys. It has been a great time, as always. Have a good weekend, everybody. Enjoy. And if you're in the New York area, stay safe from the apparent earthquakes that you guys have now. That's just ridiculous. Also, I'm just saying Castellanos is hitting a home run today. Like, how is he not going to hit a home run on Earthquake Day?
Yeah, he has to. Good matchup too against Corbin.
Yep. Plus 470 there. All right. That's going to do it for us. We'll see you next time. Thank you so much for being here with us. Let's cash some tickets and have a good weekend, everybody.